Are we live?
We
it
on
always
the
takes
air?
me for it always takes me forever to start because Dane always says
It's my
something.
job to prolong this process.
Yeah, you always do it. Anyway, I'm just gonna start it like this. Episode 46 of the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast, powered by Blue Wire Hustle. My name is Deonte. I'm joined by Dane Beasley, and Dane, we have another guest. My guy, Colin, sports reporter for KTSM in El Paso. My guy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me on. I listen to you guys all the time, so it's cool
Yes.
to finally be a part of it.
Yes.
So we've known Deonte for we just figured out like 6 years now. So we're
Yeah.
finally getting to meet Dane
Yeah. Finally
electronically.
got
It's the
two of
start
my
of a long
closest buddies
friendship.
together, man. Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. Appreciate you coming on, bro. Especially, I know the sports reporter life, you're in between newscasts right now. So definitely appreciate you coming on such short notice because I literally text Colin last night and I'm like, bro, can you come on? Because yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit of NBA playoffs and a bunch of other topics. But before we get to that, I want to let you know to please subscribe to us if you haven't already and give us 5 stars and a great rating on Apple Podcasts so people can get their ears and listen to the duo. On tap for today, Dane and Colin, we will talk NBA playoffs. Game one, the young guns coming out strong for game one, man. I tell you first before we get into everything else, I can't remember a time where I was like glued to my seat. Like the playoffs are always exciting for me, especially with the bubble. But this particular time, like I didn't want to get up because I was afraid I was gonna miss something. Like we had, and I think it's because like we see new faces like on their and doing their playoff debuts, balling out, and it was incredible to watch. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, we're gonna get into some great news. Well, not great for us media people because we got something to talk about. Shannon Sharp and Julio Jones, that thing that happened on Undisputed. We're gonna, yeah, we'll see. We'll get a little bit into that Julio talk, as well as thanks to Colin. Colin, I saw you retweet this earlier. The Texas House approving that NIL bill for college athletes. We'll get into
I made my
that.
newscast today, so
Yes,
I can talk about it a little bit.
yes, I appreciate you, man. And then we'll talk about a Texas recruit, high school football recruit that is going to skip out on his senior season of high school before heading to play college football. And then we'll close it out with our another news segment talking about the Eternals trailer that dropped today. Dane, did you watch the trailer? Because last time you didn't watch the trailer.
Look, man, I was working hard last time. Not to say I wasn't working hard today, but I was working hard enough. And I said, wait a minute, why is Eternals trending? So I clicked on there. I was like, oh, I'm not watching this on crappy Twitter. I'm going to the YouTube, watching
Smart.
it at 4K. And I watched. I was like, okay, this is great. And then I hopped back on a few hours later. I was like, why is everybody pissed off? But that's a topic for another time.
Yeah. We'll get to that a little later, but I think we had talked about Dane on a couple of episodes ago. We haven't really talked about the NBA playoffs, and I kind of felt like, or the NBA in general, this like the last couple of episodes, and I kind of felt like this season, if you're not like a crazy avid basketball fan, like most people are that enjoy it, I kind of felt like I'll just wait for the playoffs, and I think I think it's because.
This is the Sports and Stuff podcast, right?
I know. It's bad. Let me explain.
No, that's cool. This is all your fault. Everybody's listening to Deonte's fault. I had nothing to do with it.
I know I'm supposed to be on top of it, but let me explain
love basketball.
and see if people can. I love basketball too. It's not like I don't, but I'll explain why. I think I was overwhelmed by everything that happened in the bubble. Not saying it was a bad experience. I enjoyed the playoffs, but that short off season and when it came back, I was just like, dang, okay. It was still football season at that point. I was like, all right, it was more like I'll put it off until the playoffs when, it really gets down to the nitty gritty. And I think that short off season kind of made me feel some type of way. Is that weird?
No, I kind of felt the same. I kind of did what I always do with baseball, because like baseball season starts and I'm locked in for like a day, maybe a week at most. Like I'm watching it, and then I'm like, all right, there's 162 of these things. So I like tune out, and then if the Rockies, I'm a Rockies fan. If the Rockies are good, I'm like in it from like June on, whenever NBA playoffs are typically over. But if they're bad, which they're really bad, I don't even tune in again until the playoffs. So that's basically, I was a little bit like that this year. I still watch the Nuggets a lot, but I definitely didn't watch like as much just overall NBA this year as I have in years past. I think it's for the exact same reasons as you said.
Yeah, and then Jamal Murray taking that blow too kind of sucks for you guys, man. I didn't want to tell you this, Colin, and Dane will probably hop in and laugh at me for this, but
I'm ready.
The day Colin's gonna hate me. The day that Jamal Murray got hurt, bro, I was wearing the Nuggets shirt. You got me.
It's all right. It's not your fault.
Your fault.
I knew he's
you
gonna
willed
say
this to happen. Wow. So this works for football. This works for football. Anytime you watch a particular team playing, it's fine. But if it's basketball, wow, stay away from anything that has anything to do with Lakers apparel. Because if
I don't own any Lakers apparel, so you're good on
that
one.
way, young man. Wow.
I am a Mavs fan, so I have a Mavs hat up here on my wall, but I refuse to wear it because I jinxed Jamal Murray.
You got the bad
Nuggets,
juju.
So.
You got the bad juju.
I almost put it on because we're talking NBA playoffs, but I'm like, it's gonna stay on the wall.
He's already hurt, so it's
it's done. But
it was so fun to watch last year. It was so fun to watch last year.
Jamal Murray went off.
So fun to watch last year.
He just goes to another level in the postseason.
Yeah.
So
speed of another level, man. The young guys, of course. Right now, the Bucks are playing the Heat as we're talking, and last time I checked, they were up by like 30. Probably still the case. But yesterday, or over the weekend, the young guys doing their playoff debuts, man. Trae Young, Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton going off, man. Like it was incredible, and I'll give it to you guys after this, but what captivated me the most, man, was with everything that's going on with COVID and protocols, the league shutting down, and then not having fans, and then slowly bringing fans back. The atmosphere at MSG was insane. I think that was probably why it was my favorite game to watch over the weekend. Of course, the teams going back and forth, going bucket for bucket. Trae Young, Derrick Rose, Julius Randle, all of those guys. But man, Trae Young, man, he went crazy. He was second player over the past 25 years with the go-ahead field goal in the final 10 seconds of the fourth quarter overtime in a playoff debut. And he is the fourth player in NBA history with 30 points and 10 assists in a playoff debut, joining Derrick Rose, LeBron, and Chris Paul. He's definitely he proved himself along with these other guys, man. What y'all think?
I think more than anything, I was talking to Deonte, telling him this probably was going to be the hardest part to talk about because there's so many interesting storylines that we can refer to. But some podcasts a while ago, we talked about how the NBA is going to be in good hands with these young guys. And over the last few days, specifically the last 72 hours, we've seen firsthand just how well we're gonna be okay. After all our big guys leave, our all-stars leave, your KDs, your Stephs, your LeBrons, after they're gone, the league is going to be in good hands because of what we saw. And honestly, I'm going to cop out. I'm going to cop out and say I can't pick a particular person or particular player that I'm looking forward to watching the most. Deonte. But I'm just going to enjoy it. But my team got a championship this last season, so I'm just kind of soaking it all in. I'm just enjoying some good basketball.
Yeah, are you kind of in the mood where like your team won last year, Lakers fan? You're like kind of big chilling, like, man, if we go win another one, that'll be icing on the cake that I'm already eating.
More so because I needed to offset the fact that I'm a Cowboys fan. So we're probably not going to see anything for a long time. So Lakers just keep on stacking up them ships. And then, the Cowboys do what they do, blow it in the final game of the season. And, and we're back here.
Lakers fans have it tough, man. You gotta wait 10 years. Gotta wait 10 years between titles.
Yep.
It's rough. It's rough for you guys. I mean, never win anything.
Yeah. It's always a story. It's like a lovely storyline, like especially when you get players that are supposed to be like, he's the next best guy. And then, of course, Julius Randle's gone. So, yeah.
You know what's funny, Dane? And I'll get to you, Colin. I had to get this joke off on Dane because he'll definitely agree. Man, like Dane, to
hate
catch
you.
you up, Colin, Dane feels a certain way about LeBron in the past. Like when, not like he hates him, but,
I was so 100% authentic. My hate for his standery. Like, he has fans, some super fans.
it was mainly his fans.
LeBron
Yeah.
stands.
But I know Dane is going to
Take
agree with me when, like, man, come on, LeBron, with the extra, the Oscar winning.
Look, I thought he was gonna come, like the jokes that were flying. I thought he was gonna come in with the Wilt Chamberlain goggles after he got poked in the eye. I was like, come on.
Hey,
bro.
he was seeing 3 rims, man.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, shut your lying ass up. Like,
okay, that and like, did y'all see when KD bounced off the floor in the Celtics game?
I thought he was dead.
Like, he bounced off the floor like
and
on a trampoline.
His arm was like, it took most of the impact. So I was like, oh snap. When his arm came back, I was like, oh, it's definitely broke. Because you know, when you see the freak accidents and their legs and it does a little flopping motion, like, I thought that was it. But
he bounced off like a trampoline, but like got up really quick, and then like LeBron, like he's like like 260. But go ahead, Colin.
No, I was gonna say we talked about this, like you and I did like 2 or 3 weeks ago over text, like because you said it was funny because he sent the GIF of LeBron
about damn time.
About damn time, and I said he always has something planned to say after he wins a championship. It's like, it's about damn time. Cleveland, this is for you. I want my respect too. Like he always has something, like it's strategic. Clearly canned. He's planned it out. Yep. And I just this is just another aspect of that. Like, and I love the guy. Like I'm probably like I'm close to a LeBron stan. It's hard for me right now because I'm not a Lakers fan, but I love LeBron. But it's just like, dude, why do you have to do these things? You're already the second best player ever.
It's like that one cousin.
You don't have to do this.
It's like that one cousin in like the fake pass out at like a family event. Like, come on, bro. Like, you're taking the really? Come on. Come on.
That's crazy, man.
At what point do you grow out of that? But I mean, this man's about to be 40 in
36.
So he's like,
hey man, it's who he is at this point, man. we just gotta give him the Oscar, give him the award for it.
Right.
We'll see after Space Jam.
Yeah, man. But Colin, anything that caught your eye over the first 2 games over the weekend, or Saturday and Sunday game ones?
I was gonna say you 2 guys that you brought up, Booker and Brooks. Dylan Brooks. I mean, Booker, I've not, like, as a guy, I've always respected his talent, but he's one of those guys where you're like, what's that?
I said Oregon. Your boys.
Yeah, Brooks. Yeah, that's my guy. But Booker, dude, he's always been a guy, like, I respect his talent a lot, but you're always just like, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you taking this team, like, because even like before they got CP3, like, that wasn't a bad roster.
Right.
And it was just kind of like, why aren't you doing more with this team that you have? But to see him, like, finally, like, CP3 obviously takes a lot of pressure off of him, like, handles point more, and just to see him just be able to, like, do what he does best, which is just score the hell out of the ball. Like, it was impressive. Like, I was honestly, like, happy for him yesterday. And then Brooks, like, my guy from Oregon, obviously, as a Duck. Like, I was thinking about this too. Is he Marcus Smart with the jump shot?
Bro, he might be. And you know what?
That's a good comparison.
Because he mentioned it yesterday when he talked to the Inside the NBA crew after the game. I listened to the little interview. He was talking about getting to his spot, which he was hitting a lot of mid-range jumpers, which is, of course, a lost art right now with everybody trying to imitate Steph and Dame and all those guys that shoot threes from half court. But seeing, I think I was listening to Bomani Jones on a podcast maybe a few episodes ago, and he's talking about bringing the mid-range back. Well, he was actually talking about bringing post-game back, like old Tim Duncan, but I don't know. I wouldn't take it that far, but mid-range specialists, like, that's like one of the key areas, like, that is unnoticed. Yeah, Jamal Murray,
That's why it's so effective for Jamal too, is because he obviously can shoot threes, but it's so, like, I'm either going to shoot threes or I'm going to get to the rim now, that he's like, he can get into that area and, like, just kill people.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brooks is obviously not that good, but
he had one of those games, like, if like you said, you followed him at Oregon a lot and he led you guys to the Final Four, but one of those games where, he's he averaged like, I think I don't put it in my notes, but I think he's averaged like 17 points this game or this season, and for him to come out and put up 30 plus points in this first playoff debut is crazy. But you mentioned Chris Paul, and of course Chris Paul over the years has gotten a lot of gripe about, complaining and the way he might be towards teammates as far as pushing them. But to me, and I'm asking y'all guys, like, I kind of feel bad for him. Like, seems like every time he has a team that could possibly make a run towards a title, it's something going on with his body. Like, what was it?
I thought
Was
it
it
happened again
knee?
yeday.
Yeah, and then he has
he's back.
a shoulder issue, and he still looked kind of weird even after he came back. Like, is he cursed?
I don't know, man. He's what is he? 30? He's 36.
About the same age as LeBron. Yeah,
he's like a 6 foot point guard. So it's just like the margin, like something like maybe obviously we just talked about like LeBron like faking injuries, but like he has been pretty durable over like the course of his career. Like a dude like that, as opposed to a 6 foot point guard, there's just the margin of like error in terms of like getting thrown to the floor. He can get a lot. Like I just feel like he's more susceptible to injury just because he's smaller, obviously.
Yeah, and he takes a lot of hits. Hits the floor a lot going to. But one last thing I want to talk about my Mavericks. I don't have the hat on, but Luka. Can we talk about how Luka might own the Clippers? We lost to him last year in that series, but coming out game one and giving a statement to these guys, like we were at a bar in Plano full of Mavericks fans. Of course, it was like one Clipper fan, but it felt like
poor guy.
He was the only one room. Everybody looking at him, after every Clipper shot because he's cheering hard. But
he has to.
It felt like a game where a lot of the time you see the underdogs, their goal, and I was talking about this to a couple of my friends. A lot of the times the underdogs, when they're in a playoff series, you want to see them, or their goal is always to split the first two on the road. And for me, I feel like game one was incredible how they came out, and even the Clippers when they made those runs, it was always a matter of containing the runs. Basketball is a game of runs, so they won the game. Don't be satisfied with that. Like, go out in game two. Don't be satisfied with, hey, we got game one. If we lose this one, that's fine. Like, I feel like if Dallas really wants to win this series, they go out and win game two and put all of the pressure on LA heading back to Dallas for game three.
It's tough too, because that is, like you said, it's like the mindset is just win one, and then it's the Clippers, like they're gonna come out desperate, you would think. I don't know. Obviously in a perfect world, that's what they're gonna do, but I don't know. I kind of see the Clippers coming out and getting it.
Yeah,
and maybe they start hot, and then the Mavs are like, all right, well we got our win, so let's go home.
Exactly, like that'll be the turn of the tide if they can. Come out in game two the same way they did in game one, as far as that goes. But yeah, man, I think for sure game one's like seeing those young guys ball out. I think we talked about all of them. Ja Morant, and in back-to-back games, how he freaking destroyed the Warriors. Even fighting back against those Steph runs that always happens, but going out and winning game one or the play-in game versus Golden State, then backing that up with the win against Utah is incredible. Of course, Donovan Mitchell was out, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see game two with him back in, how much that changes things, like for sure. Switching to the NFL, of course, some news happened. Like I feel like when Dane and I go over the topics, it's like, especially in the NFL offseason, there's kind of like a time where, a lot of stuff isn't happening because we're past the draft.
Desperation. I think that's the word you're looking for.
Yeah, we're past all that stuff, but we always get blessed with news right before we record. Like the day you're recording, something happens that morning, Colin, and then like, oh, I'm glad we're recording today. Let's talk about that.
Add it to the notes.
Did you see what happened today with Julio and
yes.
Shannon?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay, so I'm gonna play a clip for those that have not heard it. This is what happened today on Fox Sports Undisputed.
We call? Okay, we
I
are
think we're
calling. We're
calling.
calling.
I just can't.
You watching, Julio?
Really hope he answers here.
Julio, have the guts to pick up the phone.
What's happening?
Yeah.
All right.
Julio. Hold on. Let me put you on. Can you hear me?
I got you. This is your favorite uncle. What's going on, bro?
Man, nothing much. About to go meet up with my brother. What's happening with you?
Man, look. You want to go to the Cowboys, Julio? Or you want to stay in Atlanta?
Oh, man, nah, I'm out of there, man.
You
He's
out of there?
out. He's out of there.
Are you going to... Ideally, where would you like to go?
Right now, I want to win.
Okay. Well, don't go to Dallas. If you go to, you ain't winning in Dallas, Julio.
You man, listen, come on, man. You already know I know.
Okay.
Can you remind him we're on television
Ask
right
him
now?
why he wore the Dallas.
Listen. You know how people is, man, with all that going on with the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all that stuff like that.
Okay.
Man, I ain't never been on that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. That's good enough. Julio, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for calling me back. We on air, but I appreciate you calling me, dog. You know I know my nephew was gonna pick up.
Oh yeah, nah. Yeah, I ain't going to Dallas, man. I never thought about going to Dallas.
Okay. I appreciate that, bro. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Now he might not have any choice.
I told you about
Colin, react.
Well, I'm so torn because it's either he had no idea that he was on, or this was all a setup. It was him and Shannon set it up. Those are the only two situations, because I don't think there's any and also the fact that Shannon's like, hey, thanks for calling me back. No, dude, you called him live on TV. So I don't know. I think that's the kind of when I feel like Shannon slipped in a way.
Yeah.
So that's maybe why it's that has me thinking, okay, maybe it was a setup, because he had this. They had this plan of all right, I'm gonna call you, you're not gonna answer, and then you call me back. But Julio answered, and they just went. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
that's
it's
how I
weird.
feel. Those are the two scenarios that I think are what is up.
Yeah. I'm gonna let Dane go after I go. I know when I initially saw it, I was like, nah, this is not real. I was like, there's no way that he knew he was live. Speaking of Julio, because Shannon had said something at the end we on the air or something like that, and then I thought maybe I imagined it, but I felt like there was a pause from Julio right there, and then he kind of said something else that was kind of hard to hear. But initially, I was like, there's no way Julio knew he was live. And then my co-host Dane, before we were recording, had a theory. Yes, and we got to get some theory music, do 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 do.
Hit me with
my guy Dane has a theory on
the X-Files. The X-Files thing song. That'll do it.
If Keith is listening, he'll probably make something else for you.
Keith, we need you. I absolutely love conspiracies, and I absolutely love the NFL. So when those two worlds combine, we get an NFL conspiracy. So here's the thing. I don't mind honesty, right? The conversation might have been authentic, but them setting the call up, I definitely believe that was definitely in play. You got, your agent or whoever convinced you to put on this cowboy sweater after your private workout with Amari Cooper. Cool. That's one thing that's cool. You up your bargaining price because the Cowboys are in the mix of it. That's fine. I understand that. That's just the way the world works in the offseason. That's cool. But to conveniently be available, the call, he picked up the call in less than 15 or 20 seconds, and just the nature in which the conversation took place. And this is, at the end of the day, this is Uncle Shannon Sharp we're talking about here. This is the dramatic uncle. We know this is his steez. And there's nothing more that he loves more than dragging the Cowboys on live TV. And he had the perfect opportunity to do so with the one Julio Jones, who'd obviously be a number one receiver on many NFL teams right now. So I think it's fake. I think it's fake.
I don't put it past you or put it past them. But you know what's so weird about this? Everything that happened with the call, with everybody trying to figure out whether it was real, if he knew or not. Did y'all see what the Atlanta Falcons tweeted?
Oh.
They tweeted.
They wrote an article about it.
They wrote an article about that situation. And it's like the tweet says, in a call with Shannon Sharp, Julio Jones commented on his future in Atlanta. This is from the Atlanta Falcons Twitter account. And then you click on the article, and it's from AtlantaFalcons.com reporter Kelsey Conway. And it's like a whole story about the article and his comments from the general manager. It's like they were ESPN or NFL.com. It was weird. I've never seen something like this. And this kind of gaslights Dane's theory about it. I mean, and even Ian Rappaport, I think Adam Schefter tweeted something about Julio demanding the trade weeks ago or something like that, which could probably play in part of why they have a whole statement about it and addressing it. From the general manager, we hold that player in high regard, pointing to the fact that we will answer calls on any players when teams ask about players and answer those calls on trades. It's just weird, man. It's like I've never seen a situation, and of course, we're in 2021 now. Like I've learned to expect the unexpected with everything going on in social media and stuff, but I've never seen a team comment or like post about like an incident like this thing.
But are you saying like if they trade him after June 1st, they save a lot of money, or they gotta do it before to save the money?
I think it's
after.
I think it's after, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's after because the Packers are in the same situation if they decide to get off of Aaron Rodgers, where if they trade him after it's not as much of a hit on the salary cap. I'm not an analytics guy as far as NFL knows, but I remember reading that part.
We need a contract guy to come and talk to all of us how these conversations go. But
yeah, no, you're right though about Rodgers, because I remember when they were talking about like him maybe going to the Broncos, they were like, well, it probably won't happen until after June 1st because of some sort of contract stuff. So
yes, Colin's a Broncos fan like myself. Dane, how you feel about that?
That's how we bonded initially.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Dane and I did. Oh yeah, we got to tell the audience, Dane, we bought tickets. Cowboys versus Broncos in Dallas.
Peer pressure.
November 7th.
Peer pressure.
Was it November 7th?
Peer pressure. I think it was 7th or 6th, one of those two.
Whatever that Sunday is.
My brother, who also lives a life full of sin, is a Broncos fan.
Oh, he's a Broncos fan.
He peer pressured me into like, oh, so are we going to go to the Cowboys game? I was like, nah, Jerry Jones isn't getting any more of my money. And he was like, well, how about I pay for the tickets and you just pay for my gas to drive over here, because he's all the way in another state. So I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll go. I'll go with these two jerks sitting right next to me in Missouri. But it's gonna come at a price. It's gonna come.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get that dub, bro.
Y'all gonna lose, and I'm gonna be rocking 2 Dallas Cowboys jerseys.
That's the bet. Dane and I made a bet.
Yeah.
Do I have to buy one and wear it?
No.
Was that the bet?
One, brother. Oh no.
Okay. What was the initial?
We can renegotiate the terms of the bet.
Yeah, we'll put it on the
table. Bet, in my eyes, it was, if the Broncos win, Dane Beasley will buy you a jersey of your choice, Denver Broncos. I'm assuming Bradley Chubb or Von Miller, something like that, unless you already have one, or even Chump Bailey, or whatever the case may be.
Hey, man.
In the case that the Cowboys somehow beat the Broncos, I will be, of course, sporting not 1 but 2 jerseys, because I made the same bet for my brother. And my wife was like, what if the Cowboys lose? I was like, good idea. That brings us to the next point. All I have to do is just bet a bunch of money that the Cowboys are going to lose, and I'll break even. I'll break even.
Colin, you see the disrespect that I get about the Broncos from this guy?
You get it from me. You get it from me too. And
I know. Wait, you know what, Dane? This is funny.
I'm a Broncos fan.
Dane, this is funny. You know how Colin is like my leveler. Like I'll get so high on Denver about something.
He brings you back down.
And he'll bring me back down. Like how
I am a Colin fan. I am a Colin fan. I am a fan.
No, Dave, the Super Bowl, the year they won the Super Bowl in 2015, that was like when we first became friends. We were like watching the Broncos games, and he would get so excited. But like my mindset, it is fine. Obviously, it's fine to be excited, but like my mindset going into games is always they're gonna lose. so I'm not going to be excited.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be excited. I'm just going to be like, they're going to lose. So like when they lose,
he's the
you're
realist.
Like, oh, I knew
the
they're going to lose anyways. But if they
Yeah.
win, you're like, well, I'm super fired up.
Like-
Like, what?
Like that glass half full or half empty. Like that's Colin with the Broncos. I'm like, I'm not even half full. I'm like tipping over.
Yeah.
Like you gotta take stuff out of my glass.
You're one Oreo dip away from that mug,
Bro,
spilling
it's
over.
overflow. Facts.
Yeah,
like I don't know what we were talking about one time, but I don't know. But
down to earth.
all the time. But it's good. I need that. I need that in my life.
do.
Like I think we talked about the Rodgers thing, but it wasn't crazy. Like
that could happen though. That could realistically happen.
No, it could. But that thing, I'm honestly like tapering down my expectations on because I feel like they're talking about it so much that I'm like, nah, it's not gonna happen.
I might have to change my mind about that because what are the odds that you guys get 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks within a decade of each other?
Yeah, man.
I mean, I'm not high on Elway anymore, but like if there's one thing that he could be good for, it's something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Denver
he struck out on a bunch of quarterbacks.
That's one of the things. That's one of the things. Deonte was really high on Drew Lock, and I was like, I don't know about this guy. Yes. I don't know.
I like the upside.
Yeah. And friends still ask me. I think Reggie, shout out to Reggie Pitts. He was asking me not too long ago about what I felt about Drew Lock, and I'm like, I like him. I'm like, if the coaching staff, like, this is literally his last opportunity if he doesn't get traded. Like, obviously, it looks like right now they're gonna roll with him or Teddy. If he don't beat out Teddy, for sure he out of there. No disrespect to Teddy Bridgewater.
I'm gonna cut you off for having sake. Here's
the
thing though, and this is a bigger issue. Like, just because you have a quarterback or drafted a quarterback doesn't mean he's ready to play. Sometimes they have to sit for a little while, and with you guys forcing them into the, I mean, obviously he might have been the best guy to be under center at the time, but he might not have been ready yet. And who's to say he's supposed to be the guy for some team in year 5 or year 6, not in year 2 or year 3? Like, this my thought.
Well, the thing is that's true, but the thing like now is like when you see guys like Patrick Mahomes and last year Justin Herbert that are in our division and immediately in the starting lineup and just ball out, and then you look at Drew and he's like he's in his going into his 4th year, right? Third,
I think it's third.
But yeah, like I think that's what is fueling it the most. Like, obviously Patrick Mahomes is crazy on another level, but when Justin Herbert came in last year as a rookie and just lit it up for the Chargers, and we're looking at Drew like, bruh, what you gonna do, man? You know? And I think that was part of it. Like, you even seen it in the draft with, these guys getting drafted, obviously in the first round, but teams are drafting them now, in my opinion, to play as soon as possible and play, to a high level. So, I mean,
they're coming. Yeah, they need like a franchise savior, basically. I mean, if you swing and miss, you're the Jets, basically.
Yeah.
I mean,
for sure. Ooh. And like for us, we have on paper, it looks like we can have one of those defenses that we had when we won the Super Bowl, and we won that with Peyton Manning at the very end of his play. Like, it was the worst version of Peyton Manning, and we still won the Super Bowl. So I know a lot of people in Denver are feeling like it, and I feel like that as a fan. Like, if our defense is top 5 and we have like some legit kind of quarterback play, we got a chance. What do you think, Colin?
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, I don't disagree with anything that you said. I just don't think I just don't think Locke is the guy that is like, because he's not. I don't know. I mean, even like obviously things didn't. They fell apart for Brock Osweiler after that, but he had a decent stretch that year, and he really did.
The Super Bowl year, right?
Yeah. And I don't even know that is Drew Lock even like, he's had games, but has he had like a stretch of a season season that was as decent as that Brock 5 or 6? Like, Brock legitimately, they benched Peyton for Brock.
Yeah,
halfway through that year.
And that's been the bad thing for him, so far, consistency. Like, he'll have a game where, he'll show flashes, or he might even have a good game from start to finish. And then, you'll have a game or two later where he's like, Like,
Yeah.
it's all about consistency with him, and like, of course, the teammates of his and are hyping him up like they're supposed to. You're not supposed to bring your quarterback down.
They
and
want
so,
the rock.
you know that
I'll do the
right.
same thing.
And then, I mean, even the ones on the defensive side of the ball, they're saying good things about him, and you know, you want to do that when he's still on your team. So, yeah, that was the Denver Power Hour right there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No,
Sorry about that,
I
Dave.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's a break away from talking about the Cowboys. Sorry, Cowboys.
The boys. Switching over to college football, and I appreciate Colin for this one because I honestly have missed this. He retweeted it. The Texas House approves the NIL bill for athletes by overwhelming margin. To no surprise. And I'll just read this first two paragraphs. The Texas House on Sunday overwhelmingly approved a Senate bill that would allow college athletes in the state to earn compensation for use of their name, image, and likeness, paving the way for the legislation to reach the governor's desk this week. Mm-hmm. The House approved by a 117-27 vote Senate Bill 1385, authored by Brandon Creighton, that is designed to keep the state in step with the nationwide movement by state legislators to allow student athletes to profit off their own names. So, Colin, since I got this story from you, well, you retweeted. I know you just ran it on the news, so you know you're making it easy for us. Yeah, he's used to it, man. So, for our listeners, to help out our listeners, we broke it down a couple of times over episodes. What do you think this kind of means for the future of the NIL in college sports?
I think it's just, I mean, it's so interesting, right? Because it's like Texas, and there's seven. They're like, if Abbott obviously has to sign the bill, but like, so it sounds like he's going to. So when that happens, they'll be the 17th state to do it. But it still seems like it's like, okay, that's great, but the NCAA still doesn't allow it. So it's kind of like, okay, that's, it's awesome. I obviously, I think we're all probably in agreement that this is like a good thing. Like we want this to happen, but I just don't know, like, until the NCAA like has that like hard line to like, okay, you guys, we're doing this. You have to do whatever it is. It's just kind of like, this is just kind of like stacking up, like it's like increasing the, you know what I mean? Like increasing the argument like for it. If you have so many different states, I mean, it's like across like party lines too. It's like the people who are voting for this, like
right.
it's like
on both
Texas,
sides,
it's Florida, it's California. I mean, it's like an issue that a lot of people like on both sides of the line here like are for. I think at some point it's going to be too much pressure for the NCAA, and they're going to have to. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's also one of those things too. Like, no offense to Dane's Sam Houston State Bearcats, but like, this isn't really how I've interpreted this. Is like, it's not really. It's not for like Sam Houston State Bearcats. It's not for UTEP. Like, this is for like Sam Ellinger. And guys, am I misinterpreting that? Like,
no,
not to say that like Sam Houston State, like there's not like a diner in Huntsville that wouldn't have like the blanking on the kid's name, the quarterback's name for Sam. Like, not saying like a diner in Huntsville like wouldn't do something with him, but this like to me, and maybe I could be completely wrong, but it seems like this was more for like the dudes who are at like Texas, A&M, like those high level schools. So like, that are like gonna for sure be in the NFL to like do that. I don't know. That's
I think that's fair. I just don't think anybody would want to say that. I don't think anybody would want to say that. I mean, that's a realistic take about it. Because I mean, honestly, we talked about this. We touched on it on the Sam Houston episode last week. Like, there really isn't like a line for 4- and 5-star athletes to be lining up to go to Sam Houston. That's okay. They're FCS school, but getting the exposure that they got from winning the national championship, that might help them a little bit. But going back to the original point, this isn't for your smaller schools. This is for your bigger schools. This is for the likeliness, and nobody's going to see Schmidt walking down the street like, oh, you're that quarterback from Samuel State. It's not going to go like that, unfortunately. But that's just the way that it works. Maybe that'll change when they go to the WAC.
What's definitely interesting about that, to go along with that, is like Texas signing it, but I think it mentions it in an article, like keeping up with like California and Florida, where a lot of big time athletes come out of, and Texas ADs are pushing like, hey, Texas, y'all need to get this done because we got to compete on like
recruits,
keeping big time athletes and like want them to come here because we want to have the same advantages as a college in California, as a college in Florida, you know, keeping up with everything that's going on with the NIL bills and laws. And like, it's only a matter of time, man. And I know Dane and I have mentioned it on a lot of episodes. And even when we had Jay Billis from ESPN come on and talk about the NCAA dropping the ball once again. And I think this is one of those instances where like they're dragging their feet. I think Mark Emmert has said something not too long ago about recommending it, you know, like pushing it towards the summer. Like I feel like it's always been like a push it till, you know, we'll get to it kind of thing. Like they've always been slow on these situations. Like in this one in particular, like they're losing more. Like I don't know how much more that respect they can lose, but at this point, it's just like I feel like eventually, well, I don't know, but I think the NCAA is like behind the 8 ball, like way behind, and I don't know when it gets to a point where, or even how it works to where schools start to pull out of the NCAA. I don't know how all that works, but something has to change. And even, I mean, it's not going to happen anytime soon as far as the top of the NCAA because they just extended Emmert, if I'm not mistaken, on his contract. So, yeah, man, it's just one of those things like Texas competing with those other states, obviously, because, you know, they got to compete with those other schools and the state of Texas, that is.
No,
but
funny thing. I'm sorry. Funny thing you said.
No,
that.
Go ahead.
Who the hell is going to be scared of playing any team in Texas? Like, let's be real. Let's talk football.
Oh, you're talking about just in general, the football teams? Texas teams on the down.
What recruits
downside.
are we going to be preventing? Like, you know, like
I don't. Well, you know, Texas always going to get the big 5-star and 4-star athletes.
But you know, the question still remains. There isn't a school in the state of Texas to be like, you know, we need to get this bill passed because UT, we're going to be losing, you know, half of our defense.
We're defending. Like UT ain't saying we defend the national champ.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah,
and that's all shade intended. Like Texas has been, we produce a lot of great athletes, but as a unit, Texas schools, we need to see something, man. We need to see something. So my bad. Back to you, Deonte. And that made me laugh when you said Texas. I'm like, man, I'm scared. Unfortunately,
I mean,
basketball,
maybe, but not football. Texas is always going to be one of those states. Like no matter how you slice it, whether the college teams are, you know, top of the nation or bottom, like people are always, or top athletes are always going to want to go to Texas. If not signed there, they're going to be in their top 5, top 10 schools. So it's obvious, like, you know, the top ADs in the state are going to want to compete with the Floridas, the Californians. So, speaking of Texas, yes. Speaking of Texas, I don't know if you guys saw this story, man. It was interesting. I was listening to a radio show and it brought it to my attention. So I wanted to like read more into it.
All right.
This article is from ESPN. Number 82 recruit Jaden Blue to skip senior season of high school football to prepare for commitment to Texas Longhorns. ESPN 300 running back Jaden Blue, one of the top-ranked running backs in the 2022 class, said he will sit out his senior season of high school football in 2021 to prepare for college. He's out of Klein Kane High School in Houston. He's a 5'10", 195-pound running back committed to Texas. I don't think I've ever seen this on a football level. I think, Dane, we had talked about the high school players, you know, leaving early and, you know, going straight to the league, or the what's it called, Colin? Is it the elite G League? What's the
G League? Yeah, G League.
The elite, something like that.
Yeah, but then did you see there's like two basketball kids that were like they're signed with like you know, like,
the overseas elite. Overtime.
No, overtime. Like this.
I missed that.
Oh,
like that Twitter handle that takes people's videos and puts their own logo on it. Like apparently they have it.
They have a league too now, right?
Apparently, yeah. Apparently you make $100K.
Is it the one with what's his name?
So that's why that article did.
It's new. I don't know that it's happened yet. I think it's like new, but like there are 2 top recruits that just signed.
There was somebody on Bomani Jones' podcast. I'm gonna look it up really quick.
That is cool. That's crazy.
And of course, for me, it always goes back to LeVar Ball and I'd be seeing memes about LeVar Ball doing this because like
Hey,
what he was thinking ahead of time. I'm not gonna be able to find it, but I think I read or listened to a podcast about that league. But Jaden Blue, man, I don't think I've ever seen a high school football player jump or skip his senior year. What y'all think about that?
I mean, I'd spent more time when I read the article. I spent more time trying to shoot it down, like just trying to play devil's advocate. And I couldn't think of any negatives to it aside from one popped up. I mean, you played high school football, Deonte, so you understand how this rolls, right? Colin, did you play sports or just have any? I mean,
I played basketball mainly, basketball and soccer. I played football for 1 year, but
you got a basketball size.
Yeah,
I feel like that'd be perfect for you.
So
yeah, I should have been like looking back, dude. I should have played tight end. But
I can see that.
Yeah.
Just the idea of playing in a senior year, and just think about the idea of not playing your senior year, like missing out on all those memories. Granted, we didn't do anything in our high school senior year. We went to the playoffs a few rounds, we got knocked out, got obliterated, absolutely destroyed, embarrassed. Anything you want to say?
By Garrett Gilbert. Remember Garrett Gilbert, Colin?
Yeah, you told me this. You made the Elite Eight, right?
Yeah. Yep. Wait. Yeah. Last 8 teams.
Quarterfinal, whatever.
Quarterfinals. Yep.
Yeah. So he's gonna miss out on it. That's the only thing I think of the downside of it. Those memories that he makes with his teammates. But I'm sure it'll make up for it. Granted, they do something when he goes to UT. Doubt it, but there's that. Outside of that, I can't really. I mean, I'm happy for him. Do your thing, but what does this mean for everyone else? Like, is he gonna be the first one? Like,
yeah,
it's gonna be a trend. Yeah. What do you think, Colin?
I was gonna say it seemed like when you sent the article, because I hadn't seen it until you sent the article.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like it does seem like something that was kind of only a matter of time until it happened. Because you saw dudes in college, like all across college football, opting out this year because of for the COVID season. You see guys before that. It was guys opting out of bowl games.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know. It just seemed like it's not something I had thought of as a possibility until today. But now that it's like, well, yeah. I mean, I guess it was kind of only a matter of time. I don't know, man. I like Dane said, like it's like even like I played high school basketball, and like it's that senior year, like we weren't very good, but it was just fun as hell, man. Like it was just a really fun year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you said, like he's missing out on that. And also, like, again, I understand, like, you don't want to get hurt, you don't want to risk getting hurt and everything, but like it's all like you're missing it. You're skipping an entire year and then you're jumping a level.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. Like
the preparation for it, yeah.
Doing it from college to the pros is one thing, because like if you do it, you can like, okay, if I'm going to skip my senior year of college or whatever it is, you're just immediately, you're going to hire an agent, you're going to hire a top level trainer, like you're going to be in like the best shape of your life. Like a high school kid, like I don't know. It's like there's certain things about it that I would like personally like be worried. Like, okay, what if I take this year off and these 4 guys they surpass me?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think we're all in agreement. Like I feel like I mean, Dane, like you explained, our senior year, man, we went to the state quarterfinals, and I'm not sure what Klein Kane did last year, but if they made a playoff run or not, but I would just be dying, like missing that experience, going deep with my, making that push with my teammates, the guys that I, work with, sweated with, all those things that go into a camaraderie of a football team and fighting, and that I feel like that's the experience he'll miss, but I'm sure he's addressed that with his family and friends, and it's just different. And I think a lot of the times, and we're going to see it a lot more, especially when we're talking about the NIL stuff. Like things are going to change, people are going to go out and start trends, and of course, I don't think this will be the last guy. So, good luck. I guess that's all I can say. What's the Morgan Freeman clip?
From Batman, when he said you're going to bribe. You're telling me you're going to bribe him? Oh, good luck.
But it's also too. What do you think the Texas coaches think of it?
Well, I think the Texas coaches are they like that because there's no wear and tear on this guy. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be in
fresh legs.
not that risk of getting a recruit that tore his ACL his senior year. Like I feel like and not all the time. Like this guy's only 195, so I feel like he's not gonna be the every down kind of back. So I would assume, I don't know specifically, but I would assume they're happy with him just chilling. Like, all right, we got you on the tank. Just work. Get better physically. They probably just telling him to eat weight or eat weights. Yeah, eat some weights because he's like 195. So sure. I don't know, man. That's what I think.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Trendsetter? Question mark?
Oh yeah, if it works for him, everybody's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it doesn't work, then I don't think you're gonna see it. Very much.
Yep.
And then
one way or the other.
Laughing stock again.
One way or the other. And now for
What's that sound?
the Nerdy News segment, brought to you by nobody. We need sponsors. Help us out. Sponsors. No. Dane.
What's up?
I'm gonna mess with you because last time when we were talking about a trailer, you didn't see it. So I'm gonna ask you, did you see the trailer for Eternals?
I literally just told everybody to plead in my case. I was busy working the last time a trailer dropped. I had no idea. I didn't even check the notes that day. I logged in and I winged it. And when you brought up the trailer, I was like, wait a minute. What is he talking about? I was like, trailer. You play it, right? And I looked at those and was like, oh, there was a trailer today. So
I hit you with the intro music before you could explain yourself.
Yeah. Disrespectful.
Colin, how much because we love the MCU. I know you watch movies from time to time. Are you like an MCU kind of guy? How do you feel about Marvel?
I like the movies. I have not seen all of them. I will say that. Of leading up to Avengers, I've probably seen, what is it? There's like 22 of them, like leading up to the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
I think
the last Avengers, yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably saw like 12 or 13 of them. I didn't see all of them, but like I am not like a hardcore fan, but I'll go watch them and it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
So this is probably not the conversation for me. I'll be honest.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna walk.
I'm here for moral support.
Listen, we're gonna hold your hand. We're gonna walk you through it because, honestly, you're kind of in the same boat with us because
I have no idea what the hell is going on.
This particular MCU movie is new to us. Like we're not really into the comics for MCU like that.
Not for this.
Of course, Reggie Pitt. Shout out to Reggie again. He's into the comics for Marvel, and so when the movies come out, he's just excited because he's seen it. Read it. And so, on November 5th, Marvel Studios is going to release Eternals. It's starring. Man, the cast is incredible. Let me pull up this cast real quick because.
Why are you doing that? I just want to say how blown away I am. The man or woman, they spawned water out of their hand and was like, grow plants that are inside this little crop. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into, but you spawn some water out your hand. I'm down. I'm there.
Yeah. Starring Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Kit Harington, Salma Hayek, Angelina Jolie. It's like this cast is crazy.
Heavy hitters, man.
What I find to be pretty cool, and like I always trust Marvel and their vision. I think I tweeted about how this trailer, and how I feel about this particular movie is how I felt about Guardians of the Galaxy because I really didn't know much about the characters. Because I didn't read the comics, but when I watched the movie, James Gunn and the whole, they killed it from start to finish. And it was a movie that was probably one of my, not my favorites, but I like really enjoyed, seeing it on screen and right. It made you love them.
Ask for.
Right. Colin, do you have a particular MCU movie that is your favorite? I know we got the Avengers ones. This is one that you like that stood out to you the most.
Yeah, I always really liked the Thor movies. All of the Thor movies were awesome. Yeah, I would probably say those string were my favorite.
Yeah, I think the first two are kind of slow for me. Like if I was like, I feel like it reminded me of like Shakespearean type stuff. Dane, how'd you feel about Thor? I like the third one, the Ragnarok one,
Yeah.
because
Well, I feel like the first, like the early ones, it was like I legitimately thought they were standalone movies for a while,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think a lot of people did too. So it was
Yeah.
like it just didn't really get. It was
Connect,
I
yeah.
don't know. I don't remember like at what point it was that it was like, oh, they're building, like they're all
Mhm.
building to this. That I realized that, but
Yeah.
I think I liked Thor because, I mean, we've heard so much about, you know, the Norse god of lightning. Sorry about that. The Norse god himself, like the whole lore behind him and Mjolnir, and I liked it. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like Thor #1 or #2 because of how slow they were, but for the sake of
Yeah.
character building, which pays off in the end, which we obviously seen in Endgame, I appreciated it a lot. But in particular, I don't have any gripes about Thor. I mean, he's a heavy hitter for Marvel itself, so he's always gonna be cool dude in my book. I'll appreciate him. I'll say that. I'm not gonna bash him like Deonte here, but you know.
Wow. What I do enjoy is like I feel like the movies or MCU in general is very good at, I mean, the story itself in general, but I feel like every casting or almost every casting they've had for a particular character has been perfect or near perfect. Like if you see like Captain America or like Chris Evans, like he's Captain America. Like even if you see him outside of the movie, like same with Robert Downey Jr., he felt like his character, he played it well because you think he's that character outside of the movie. And like I've always enjoyed that, and I feel like with these movies coming up and projects, it's gonna be a lot of the same thing. And like with the pandemic, of course, everything that happened with that was horrible. But like now that movies are coming back and shows are coming back, I had tweeted something about like it just, I said we're almost in June and we still have Loki, Black Widow, What If, Shang-Chi, Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Eternals, and Spider-Man No Way Home all coming this year. Like that's like nine projects that are still like on the way this year, like in half the years left. So we're blessed, man. The nerds are blessed.
My advice to anybody is if you don't like something that Marvel's put out so far, I'd say just wait within the next 6 or 7 months. There's gonna be a flavor for everybody. Certainly gonna be a flavor for everybody. I'm hopeful.
And they're gonna continue to expand.
Yeah.
But Colin, bro, thank you so much for joining us, especially in between the cast, man. I know how that is like preparing for a sportscast and getting the lineup and blocks. You got all your blocks set up and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's yeah. I mean it's actually not. It's kind of been a slow day. I'm in here like I keep looking over my shoulder.
What's the score?
It's 117-86 Miami. I keep looking over my shoulder to see if the Nuggets game started yet.
Yeah, we're gonna let you out of here before the Nuggets.
We got plenty. Oh dang, there's like 8 minutes left.
Oh, we can watch it through his on the screen.
Yeah, Milwaukee's up. They have 117 points with 8 minutes left in the game.
They're getting smashed. They're killing themselves.
How many threes have they hit? I gotta look.
Bro, go ahead. It was like when we at half they had like, or at the end of the first quarter they had 10, right? Or was it the half? No, at the end of the first quarter they had 10 threes.
They are 19 of 44 from three.
It's crazy.
That'll do. That'll work. I'll win you some games.
That'll win you some games for sure, man. Incredible. But man, every time we have a guest, Colin, we like to give them the opportunity to shout out anything, talk about anything, to get to our listeners that tune in to the duo.
Yeah, I would just say shout out to you guys first of all for having me on. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Follow me on Twitter at Colin Deaver TV. That's like
he has like 5,000
the one
followers.
social media. That's like the one social media I do. I have the other stuff, but I'm not really like on them like that. Like I think like my Facebook and Instagram are pretty private. I cover El Paso sports pretty heavily. So if you're not interested in that, I'm sorry. I tweet about El Paso sports and the Nuggets. That's about it. So.
But what's so cool about how Colin does his sportscast, man? Like he makes it so interesting. Like he puts his own flavor on it. He does something cool. Like it may not be every time because I know that's tough to come up with creative stuff every time. But Colin, man, I really appreciate when you do. I know you sent me some. I can't remember what it was in particular you sent me, but oh, dang, I can't remember, but I do remember you just tweeted the tease for one of your stories, and you bounced or you did the alley-oop for the player KJ Lewis.
Yeah, KJ, dude, that kid's gonna be in the NBA.
Yeah,
that's
going to Tech, right?
He's not committed yet. He's only a sophomore.
Oh, okay,
he'll be a junior next year, but he's on He's number 21 on ESPN's top 25 for the class of 2023. So he's legit, man. He's like I'm like 6'4", 6'5". So that's his height. He's probably I don't know, 40 to 45 inch vert. That's the story I'm working on right now. I was out in Dallas this past weekend, like doing a huge feature story with him. So he's legit, man. I'm not putting this on him. You remember LeBron? I'm not saying this kid is going to be LeBron, but do you remember high school LeBron?
Yeah.
And how he looked like he was 25 years old at age 17. Yeah. That's kind of how this kid, like he looks like that old. I have to like remember like, okay, he's 16 years old. Because like you talk to him, you're like, oh no, you're 16. But like you see him play basketball, it's like no,
basketball.
He's
and it's
real.
funny that like when I worked in the sports, like it's kind of weird, like covering those. Not weird, but it's interesting covering those stories. And be like, dang, you're younger than me, and you could do crazy stuff that I can't do. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always like interesting, and it was like an interesting dynamic, so to say. But
look for that story. Follow me on Twitter if you want to be up to date on everything that happens in El Paso.
Yes, perfect. I'm gonna put your Twitter in the description of this podcast, so follow my guy Colin. Appreciate you so much for joining us on the Duo Sports and Stuff podcast.
Thank you guys. Man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. And you can listen to this episode on all digital streaming platforms or our website www.theduosportsandstuffpodcast.com. We out.